What's going on, guys? I often get questions in chat surrounding Tempest and what flying units actually are. So I figured I'd jump into a quick match here of Sandbox and explain how Tempest buff works, what flying units are there in the game, and kind of how you can synergize these things together. So the first things first, the Tempest buff. Basically, it gives a unit aerial command. All that does is it gives it increased damage, realistically. So 18% increase in damage, as well as the ability to stack up to 2 times. A lot of units synergize with this. The attacks bonus, the damage bonus, is really good for things like Canopy early game, Windhawk, etc. It does work with Windhawk's ability damage, if I recall correctly. Let's see here, does it tell us? Yep, base damage and ability damage. But keep in mind, it doesn't work with things that hover, right? So, Mask hovers, it looks like it flies, it doesn't work. Lord of Death spawns a unit that flies, but it doesn't work. Pee-wee, in this case, Pee-wee and Gargoyles base forms work with it, but the upgraded forms do not. It stacks up twice, so things like Pee-wee doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. 3 damage extra on a tier 1 doesn't really help. You look at Firelord though, 134. 106. So combine that with the increase in damage with overheat, you get a massive amount of attack damage. On Phoenix. The biggest thing though is that you want to make sure if you take a Tempest, you have a unit that does fly. The majority of the value from Tempest is in its synergies, and if it doesn't have a unit to synergize with, it's kind of worthless in most roles. You want to traditionally try to use it with more expensive units if possible as well, right? Like, the ability buff you get from going to a Seraphim 9 or a Buzz in 9 versus even a Violet, which is 13, or a Sky Queen, which is 13, or in this case a Canopy, which is 27. Like, that value proposition gets better every unit you have that's larger. That's why Phoenix is such a good unit to put on Tempest. It just, you gain the most value out of this, 380 gold, I think it is. It's kind of a preference though on how you want to use it. A question from chat: does Phoenix benefit from Sorcerer, whatever the spell is that gives it ability damage? I don't think so. I don't believe so. Because I don't think it's an ability. Is it? It's overheat. I don't think so. I don't think so. It doesn't do ability damage. It's just extra attack damage added on. Different. It's different. But yeah, primarily the biggest uses of Tempest are going to be Violet, Canopies early, and Phoenix. Violet Leviathan makes Violet a lot better mid to late game, and honestly, the levies themselves are pretty darn good damage for a Pierce unit. But just keep in mind, higher cost units better, lower cost units not as great. It can make units like Seraphim stronger, but it's not necessarily as big of a deal. It's a backline unit, just like everything else. It does not stack 3 times, though. It stops at 2. It can make 2 stacks, makes Violet almost do 100 damage a hit. It's extremely good if you can get it going. Something along the lines of Leviathan Violet with Steed, and then just any old frontline can carry you a long way in games. And if you wanted to, you can start Windhawk 5 worker, depending on your value, right? You go Windhawk 5 worker, and then you can drop a Tempest in front of it like this, and this will hold a lot early game too. But yeah, super diverse role option. You can start Tempest like this early game. If you have something to help you with 3, this can get you through a lot early. Just Tempest to start, 4 worker start. Super good unit. I think more people should utilize them with their synergies. Hope you guys found this informative. If you have more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and see you guys next time.